Hi everybody, we're going into our Friday sketch video and we're going to be using the sketch from Mojo Monday, and it is sketch number 403 and it was from June 22nd of 2015. And with this one I wanted to make a bigger card than I normally make, and so I'm going to have to piece together some of the papers because I wound up cutting my page 5.5 by 7, and since the paper I'm using is 6 by 6, I'm just figuring out how to basically make it even. So I cut it down so that it was just 1/8 of an inch shy of 5.5, and then on the 7-inch part I figured out half, which would be 3.5, and then shorten it by 1/8 of an inch. Now in this particular moment when I'm cutting, in my mind I thought I made the card 5.5 by 7.5, and so I estimated, for the paper to have that extra 1/4 inch or 1/2 inch, excuse me. So when I'm laying it down here, I'm like, well, why do I have so much paper? It's not making sense. And later on, it dawns on me, you made it 5.5 by 7, not 5.5 by 7.5. And eventually you'll see I'll bring my cutter out and I will trim down those pages. So right now I'm just scoring at 5.5. Since this is a thicker cardstock, I ran it down quite a few times, and then I'm just rubbing it up and down the spine here just so I can get a really good crease. Alright, and then there's the card. And then that's going to be our middle piece. And it's right in here where I realized, wait, I didn't cut that right. It only went to 7. So we're going to pull it back out and trim off, I think, 1/8 of an inch or something like that, or 1/4 of an inch off on each one, just so that it'll be nice and even, and it'll have a nice little border going around all 4 edges. So what I decided to do, and what I like to do with this, is to attach the papers to like a base piece of paper and then take the washi tape and wrap it around. So I take this scrap piece of paper I have and I measure it the width of our papers, the papers here that we're getting ready to post or lay down on the card base, and I just needed enough to be able to attach the 2 sheets and to get the exact measurement that I need for my card front. Now normally if you have a sheet that you're using that you can cut to be like 6 7/8, if you're doing it the 5.5 by 7, then by all means cut that sheet, you know what I mean? But I was using a pattern paper that was only 6 by 6, and that would be difficult to get 7 inches out of. So I'm just taping these down and trying to use my grid mat to line up so that way I have, as straight as possible lines. And at first I just lay this down slightly. I grab my Tim Holtz ruler just to make sure that I have it lined up correctly. Once I realized that I needed, a little bit more room, I just peeled it back up because I didn't press it down, hard, so it allowed me to be able to pull it up. And then once I had that, I just wanted to lay it down to make sure I had enough space, which I do. And so before I go to tape up the back, I'm going to grab the washi tape and put that around the middle. And most of with the way the front winds up being, I want to say you really see just a little bit of the washi tape, but it was just, you know, a way to get the full length of the card, have it look really nice, and then, you know, like finish it off basically. Okay, so the top part of our sketch, I'm laying out my papers, just making sure everything is looking right the way that I wanted it, and I got everything pretty much in mind on what I'm going to do. So I'm going to go ahead and attach our piece that we were just working on, and to some people I probably use a lot of tape, but I use it because, like I said, I want to make sure that what we're doing is going to stay in place. And by using this, you know, snail adhesives, it gives you time to be able to pull your piece up before it sticks down and is completely permanent. If you use ATG tape, you know, the gun, or score tape, you might have a little bit more of a struggle to get that off. Alright, so now I'm just laying these out, trying to figure out, you know, where and what size I want to make those. So in figuring out and looking at it, I'm trying to guesstimate like how much space is from the edge of the paper to the pieces that we're working on, and I figured it was probably like a ½ inch on each side, and so that's what I'm trying to figure out. So if I go in a ½ inch, and then you're going to see me move the ruler some, and that's when I figure out, you know, where to cut it. So I want to say it winds up being, my first one is like 4 inches by, I think it's 3 inches, or yeah. Hold on, while that's going, let me just double check here. Yeah, it's 3 inches by 4.5. And then the bottom sheet is going to be 4.5 by 3.25 inches. So the one on the bottom, I made it just a little bit wider, but they're both the same length. I really like this card and how it turned out. Okay, so we're just trimming those down, and then what I do is I take black cardstock and create a mat for each of our piece. So since it's 3 by 4.5, then our mat is going to be 3 1/8 by 4 5/8. And on the other one, it'll be 3 3/8 by 4 5/8. And I just do the mats because it gives separation. With me using this pattern paper, it can get overly busy, and doing a mat will help, you know, separate it and give it definition. And then I'm taking one of my strips from my very initial cuts, and I'm just cutting a banner edge out of both sides, and then I'm just laying it here to see how it's going to fit. Remember, when you're doing a pattern, it's very important to make sure that you're, you know, still checking your placement as you go, because I would hate to put everything together and then go to put it together and it doesn't fit or it doesn't lay right. That would not be cool. So I always like to kind of guesstimate, lay stuff down and out, and make sure everything is laying appropriately. Alright, so we're going to attach that piece. And right here, you can kind of see it from the angle of the recording. I kind of went over to the right some more than I should have, so it's not even right in the center. And when I go to lay this piece down on top, it's not looking even, and I was like, why am I leaning towards the one side? So You guessed it. I'm pulling it up, moving it over to the left so that way it's more even and in the middle. There we go. And then we're gonna just tape. I'm just taping in the middle because I want the banner to kind of lift up on both ends, and when in the end when I go to add some sequins, I want to be able to hide them underneath the, you know, the parts of the banner. We're going to add down our paper doily, and this is one of those circles I cut out using my Cuttlebug, and I had made extras, so I just pulled it out of my little plastic baggie. And then with this paper collection, there were some pinwheels. You saw me use it on one of the other videos, so I decided to add the pinwheel in the middle of this one. And I wasn't sure if I was going to put the sentiment in the center or on the bottom right. So I decided to do it really on the bottom right, and then I added sequins to give it just a little bit of bling, a little bit of excitement. Okay, and on the sentiment I did use some foam, so that way it would create a little dimension and allow a spot for me to peekaboo some sequins. Okay, and these right here are from my stash, and I just like them because they give a little bit of sparkle, but they're not overpowering, you know, the sketch itself that we've put in here. And I'm sorry I'm off camera a little bit there, but all I'm doing is, you know, putting a little bit of the multi-matte medium and then pressing and holding the sequins down. I found with this one, because it is a bigger card, it was harder to get the whole thing into the, you know, camera screen, but I'm just showing you all the way around the different sequins, and there you go. There's always got to be one sequin that gives you just a little bit of some trouble. I almost threw that one away and got a new one, but I was like, I'm putting you into submission. Okay, so here's our card, everybody. Thank you so much for joining me. Here's a glance at the photo of the sketch on the right. And make sure that you hit the like and subscribe buttons, and please share. And I would look forward to seeing you guys with our next video, which should be on Tuesday. It's going to be another sketch card for our Technique Tuesday videos with Scrapbooking with Me Boutique, but we're also going to focus on maybe one a little bit more difficult. Alright, you guys, have a good one. One more thing before I go, I do want to make sure that you guys are aware that with the Scrapbooking with Me Boutique, we are starting a new kit class. So when you purchase this kit, you'll get items that will allow you to create the project that the teacher has selected. Our first teacher is going to be Leda Reyes, and her picture of her box is at the top corner, and the remaining pictures are the items that will be in the kit itself. Okay, this is going to be a great opportunity. Please click on the link below to the boutique. Make sure you sign up to become a member, and then make sure that you get your kit in before the 20th of September. It's really important only because you want to allow time for you to receive the kit before September 30th, which is when the class is. I'm telling you, this is a great opportunity, and I'm so excited that we're all going to be a part of this, you know, new adventure. Thanks, and have a great one.